Recreating an existing system. Sooner or later, the chances are, you'll have a customer ask if you can expand the master key system they have. If they have the system information you need, that's great. If not, you'll recreate the system they have with a little reverse engineering, and that's what I'll cover in this video. I have already created a standard system that we'll work with. I already changed the report type to key tracking to make it easier to inspect and understand. I also went to Settings, and under Report Options, I checked the Show, but Mark Unusable Keys option to show all the keys. Now any key that violates the max you have set will display but will have this mark next to it. Let's say your customer has a list of keys for you to work with. If not, you'll need to measure some key cuts. The first thing you want to look for is some kind of pattern. If you look here, you'll see a lot of 010 then 012, then the next two columns change more often. So far, we know the master key cuts they're using, and we can see it rotates from tip to bow. Simply choose the lock and enter the master key, and MasterKey Pro will create the proper key bitting array to work with. Now let's find the max. If you look through this list, you'll see that a 0 next to a 6 is acceptable, but up here a 0 next to a 7 is not. So, it must be a 6. We can also see the pin size range is from 0 through 9, and that is standard for a Schlage system. In most cases, that's enough information to recreate the system. Let me show you how that works. I choose the lock from this list, then entered the master key cuts. Then created the system. I'll click Edit System button to input the lock type and master key cut information. Then I'll go up here to Customize. Let's say you have some keys that start with 41. One of them is 41047. Look here and you'll see we have a 4 in this column and a 1 in this one and a 0 here, then 4 and 7. So this key will come up in the system, so we know we're on the right track. Now look at this. This first 0 will start your A group, the 2 will start your B group. So, the keys that start with 4 will be in our C group. Let's check it out. I'll click on the C group and look for our key. I could use the search button if we needed to, but I can see the key right here. Now you know what group to look at to find your existing keys. If it starts with a 0, it's in the A group, a 2 would be in the B group, and so on. Now we want to look for a few other keys. Let's say we find more keys in this group. If it starts with 41, it will be in this CA group, so find it and mark it as used. If we scroll down here to the next group, you'll see they start with 45. Then 47, etc. The next question you want to ask yourself is, do we have any keys that start with something other than 41? If not, you can use any other group for expansion. Let's say we have 4 or 5 keys that start with 21. If you remember, they show up in the B group, so you could go through and mark the ones that have been used and expand from there. You can also go back and mark all the other used keys, and that's it. Let me go back to Settings and change this back to only show usable change keys. Now, maybe you have several systems you've already created on another program and now you want to start using MasterKey Pro. Although it's not possible to just import your existing systems, it's easy to recreate them with MasterKey Pro because you already have all the information you'll need to do it. Depending on how many existing systems you have, you can convert them all at once or as you need them. But the sooner you make the change, the easier it will be for you. Now let me talk about another scenario you will most likely encounter at some point. That's when they hold a chamber. Let's say all the existing key you have start with a 6 and not a 4. The first cut in the master key is a 6, so they held that chamber. To do that, just click the H button for the chambers you want to hold. This should give you a real good idea how to recreate most existing systems. Another video you might find helpful is my video on customizing. It will cover the key bitting array and rotation order in a little more depth.